And we're live. Merry Christmas, everybody. The week before Christmas. Had a great show this morning. Giveaway show. Um, Dan Thompson, if you're out there, bud, contact me, man. I tried to tag you in a community post. Only there's so many Dan Thompsons out there. I didn't know which one to tag for it to be correct. So hopefully you'll catch this. If anybody knows Dan, let him know to contact me. I said, 72 hours. He's the one who won the reel this morning, and Abu Garcia Catfish Special. I'd really like to get that out to him as soon as possible. So, Dan, if you're listening after the fact, contact me in my email. It's on my about page. But so, other than that, I already said Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, everybody. How about Catfish Weekly? That was a good show as always. They had a big long list of what they wanted for Christmas. I got everything I wanted already, so I'm pretty fortunate. Had my birthday. We'll talk about that once we get started. Let me say hello to everybody, David. Oh, look at that, Freddie's outdoor adventures with the 20. Fred, you didn't have to do that, bud. He says Merry Christmas with a $25 super chat. Thank you so much, Fred. You're way too generous. Way too generous. I appreciate you, but more than you know. That being said, let's say hello to the rest of the people in there. I get my list up. There's crew member Adventures with Robin C. How you doing, Robin? Hope your puppy's okay. Doing good. And that's Catfishing. How you doing, Miss Annette? There's Chad Thomason. I believe that's how you say that. Chris Everett in the house. There's Chucky, Crappie Day Fish On. He's also a crew member. What's up, Crappie Day? How you doing? Crazy Hillbilly in the house. Creole Catfishing. Man, I see those pictures of that puppy you guys got. Where dachshunds have a warm spot in my heart. Once we lost Woody, that was a pretty rough. My wife took that so hard she couldn't get another dachshund. So at least yet, there's still time. Fishing with Squirrel. What's up, Dawson? How you doing? Freddie's Outdoor Adventures crew member. Thank you again, Freddie. I appreciate you, bud. It's All Mine. How you doing, Michelle? Make sure you check out her channel for some good cooking videos. There's Mark Barnum. How you doing, Mark? There's Maurice, the great Maurice Kaysen. Keep him in your prayers, guys. He can use all you can get. There's Mr. Rogers in the house. How you doing, Mr. Rogers? There's the great Melissa. How you doing, dear? Pontoon Jody, crew member. What's up, Jody? How you doing? Thanks for your support. Sean Abney in the house. There is the waterfowl enthusiast himself, Super Smurf Eric Fishing. How you doing, Eric? There's Dustin over at Team Stag and Whiskers, and the great Mr. Tim Molina, crew member, whose birthday it was just yesterday. So if you haven't said happy birthday to Tim, say happy birthday to him right now. Let's get the chat rolling again. Welcome to the Catfish and Crappie Podcast. My name is Mark, and tonight's guest, David Lemen, right?
No, it's Lemen.
It is Lemen. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that, David. I do that every time we start this show. I always have the name down, and then I go to say it, and I second guess myself in the middle of it, and I screw myself up. So I apologize for that. But I tell everybody. Tim says that was so yesterday as far as his birthday. Well, still want to make sure. There's John Boy's Catfishing in the house. How you doing, John Boy? Joe Buck 66. How you doing, sir? What's going on? Keith NWPA Fishing in the house. All these people coming in. It's always good to see them. Yeah, like I was going to say, every time I get like halfway through the name, I start second guessing myself. But then again, I do have that last name card because nobody can say my last name whatsoever. So how you doing tonight, David?
Doing good.
Do you like Dave or David? What's the best thing?
Either or. Most people call me Dave. So
all right, Dave. Well, I'm glad to have you here tonight. Where are you from?
The middle of Kansas, bottom end.
Bottom end. Is that just where it's at, or is there an actual place called Bottom End, Kansas?
No, that's just where we're at. We're right at the middle of the state and only about 30 miles from Oklahoma.
I have never been in that part of the country. Well, I've driven through Nebraska. That was about it.
Well, I got a river. It's the South Fork Nenaskaw, and it's 2 blocks that way, south of me. And it is literally 6 inches deep and about 8 feet wide. And it's not because of the drought, because that's just that's just how it flows. So we don't have much around here. Our closest reservoir, Cheney Reservoir, it's 5,000 acres, but it's only 35 feet deep.
Well, 35 feet deep is pretty deep compared to what I'm used to. So you're not going to get any sympathy from me, Dave.
Well, that's a reservoir. That's not a river, though.
So how often? You still fish the shallow river right by your house, right?
Yeah.
How do you do over there?
When you fish for catfish and things like that, it's a regional thing. Like I see you catch big ones, and then I see like, Jody and some of the other people in here, they catch them, 70, 80 pounds and stuff like that. Well, at our local lake, somebody caught a 71-pound flathead a few weeks back. And I mean, around here, that's like record giant type, everybody come out. I mean, even though our records are higher than that, I think our flathead record's at over 100.
Those are some big flatheads. Here where I'm at, 30-pound flathead's a big flathead. 40 pounds are almost unheard of, and bigger than that are like once in a lifetime fish. So
yeah,
it's all relative to your waters, man.
My biggest flathead in the last 10 years is probably 8 pounds. But I always fish that skinny water. I don't know how to explain it. I'd rather just go fishing. I don't care. I'm fixing to go make a video coming soon with the new fly rod that I got. It's a 4-weight, and I'm going to go target little chubs with it. So I'm going to be catching stuff like that on size 22 and 24 flies. So
that's fun too. The micro fishings took off a few years back. Whether or not it's still as big as it is, I don't know, but I still think it's kind of fun. I mean, I
did it from a kid, so we just called it fishing.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it's got gills and it breathes water, it counts.
And it's always exciting to just, pull something out of the water. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't know what's going on under there, and boom, you got something on the end of your line. It's something that always amazes you as a kid. So even to this day, it does. When I get a nice size, when I get any size fish out of there, the big ones, they're a little more impressive, obviously, to oneself. Not that it's any more important, but you get the drift. It's as close to magic as I can describe, or at least the feelings as close to magic as I can describe.
I always get excited in one of my recent videos. I was catching crappie that were 5 inches long, and I was having a blast that day.
Same with like that. What did you say? That flathead is how big? 7 pounds? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind catching a 7-pound flathead. I'll catch them all day and all night, man. I don't care. Even crappie that size. If I've not been fishing up, Dave's showing off some flies. If you're listening to this on a podcast, Dave's tying some flies right now and some jigs. What size hook is that? That thing's tiny.
It's a 10 with a 64 head.
Little guy. Little.
Yeah.
And then what are you going to use that for?
I'm going to go use them for crappie and bluegill Wednesday when I go fish that hot house.
Yeah, you were saying that you're gonna take a trip and go fish one of them enclosed docks, right?
Yep.
Good deal. That's something that I really would be interested in this time of year, especially with this cold front that's coming. I know you guys listen on a podcast. This is a few weeks out from Christmas. We're right here. The week before Christmas is when we're recording this, and we're getting some really, really cold temperatures. And you're going to have even colder ones in your part of the country, aren't you, Dave?
Yeah. Thursday is supposed to be 8 or 9 degrees for a high. The low is going to be
colder than that. I thought it was going to be like Ryan Hall.
I didn't put much past Thursday.
Okay. Ryan Hall, I think, was saying way negative numbers in your part of the country. So
yeah, I think one of the boys earlier said something about 10 below or something like that, and I told him to shut up and go away.
We keep reminding Lyle it's going to get that cold by him, and he doesn't want to hear it. He keeps sending us emojis.
I keep telling him he needs to go ice fishing.
I'm going to have ice at the end of this week, so hopefully next week I'll be able to get out on there and get back to fishing. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Every year I kind of hem and haw and go, I really don't feel like doing it. But when it gets close to time, I start getting excited. So,
yeah.
I'd have been a little
we
bit.
don't get enough. We don't get enough ice here. I mean, a couple years ago, we got down to sub-zero temperatures for like over a week, and even for the high during the day. And we actually got like 9 or 10 inches of ice on some parts of the lakes, and there were a lot of people ice fishing. But I just, even being that thick, now being in the wheelchair,
You can get a side by
you only
side.
have you only got like 6 square inches of pressure on that ice. It's not like you're spreading any weight out or nothing. It's just scary, the thought of it.
It's you'll psych yourself out of it, but you can get a side by side on that much ice for the most part. No ice is safe, people. I need to make sure I say that all the time. No ice is safe. Always use common sense. Go with somebody. Make sure you got your ice picks with you. Take all the necessary safety measures, and if you can afford it, get a floating ice suit. So let somebody know where you're at all times.
Yeah. Well, when we was a kid, I fell through the ice in Texas. We should have never been on it being in Texas, but Lyle was talking about on his show just a minute ago that about when he was in Texas and everything. That was about the same time I was down there.
Yeah, Texas, they have a when it gets that cold down there, they're no way ready for it. Hopefully they learned after that last time. That was a couple years ago. I could be wrong. Hopefully
Oh, yeah, I seen all the pile ups they had there in Denver. I mean, in Dallas and stuff.
Yeah, speaking of Texas, Becca Mudtram's from Texas. She says we're supposed to be getting down to 6 degrees here in Texas on Thursday. I think pigs are going to fly.
Everybody down there, there's a lot of houses down there in Texas that are up off the ground, modular homes and things like that. All their pipes are going to freeze.
Yep. I know a couple of people that are kind of close to me here in the catfish community that have, they had to go and board up around their whole house and make sure all the insulation was up and intact going around, because you're absolutely right. That cold air gets underneath those homes and it wreaks havoc on them.
Yeah. One thing that can be said about that is go check on your neighbors afterwards. Make sure you see movement.
That's always a good idea. I used to travel for work, and I spent some time down in Lake Charles, Louisiana, right there on the Texas border. And they got an ice storm while I was down there one year, and that shut that place down. Shut it down. So yeah, 8 inches of ice. I don't even flinch. I posted a video on Facebook today, a memory of us walking on less than 4 inches this time, a year ago or 2 years ago. And that was pretty safe. It's a little spongy and it'll pucker you up a little bit, but when you haven't fished for a couple of weeks or a couple of months, you're ready to get out there, and hopefully you don't get wet and you're with people that are going to watch you. So
it's that whole ice popping and twanging, and I know everybody says that that's the ice growing. It's stronger. No, I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way Lyle is. I'm not real too sure about it. Maybe if I was up there where you're at and stuff and the ice was that thick, it'd be a different story. But
well, you bring up a valid point, because I'm around a lot of people that ice fish and have ice fished, or people that have ice fished for even longer than that. So you got people to trust. You got people that'll show you the ropes. You know what I mean? It's not like you're coming into an area on your own and just walking out onto some pond somewhere. I don't advise anybody ever do that. So, and most of the time, at least in this part of the country, I'm outside of Chicago. For those of you listening on the podcast, it's a lot of bass. There's some crappie, a lot of panfish. Nobody really fishes the river on the ice unless it's on the back channels, stuff like that. So, and we've talked about all this stuff many times, but I have to admit, I'm getting pretty excited. I tried to pick up some more gear today, and they sold out quicker than.
Need to get you some of them 12-inch bluegill this year.
Well, we don't have any that big here. I have one spot that I can get onto midsummer. They'll come into the shallows. I can get on 9, maybe 10-inch bluegills, which are big bluegills for here.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I thought they got like 12 inches up there.
No, not here. A little warmer climate maybe. Well, I'd love to go fish where Ty Pig Patrol fishes in Lake Havasaw. He fishes that one marina.
Oh yeah, where the 2-pound bluegill.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And then he was fishing another set of docks where he was pulling out one after another 15, 16-inch crappie. They were crazy huge.
Yeah, I got a couple spots where they're the biggest crappie I've caught out of there has been 19.
That's a big one. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
seen one that big.
It was 3-1.
Last year or this year?
No,
Oh,
it was
3.1.
3 pounds 1 ounce.
That's a beast. I reset my PB. My PB was 2 pounds. I think 2 pounds 4 ounces for the longest time, and I haven't seen one that big since I was a kid. And the only reason why we knew how big it was is because we were fishing in this guy's backyard. This older gentleman that dug a trench into his property, and they'd come in there to spawn. And this thing, when I was a kid, I remember that fish. It was a monster. I'd never seen anything like it. And he happened to have a postage scale right in his garage. So he grabbed it, walked over and weighed it. That's the only reason why I knew what it weighed. But I figured it's been so long, I'd reset my PB. My PB is nowhere near that. Hopefully, maybe on the ice we'll get on it on that. I got one spot here up north of me about an hour. There's Dan Thompson. Dan, hold on a second, real quick. Dan, congratulations. You won yourself an Abu Garcia Catfish special. Email me, bud. Email's on my About page. Give me your shipping address. I'm going to ship that to you directly from Amazon. But congratulations and Merry Christmas to you. I'm glad I caught up with you. All right. Good deal. I needed to get that out of the way.
Yep. He needed to get his reel so he can get it wet.
I need to ship that out. I went to ship a couple of the other prizes today, David, and I ran out of shipping tape. I had to order some more shipping tape. So they're going to have to wait a couple of days till I get that. Sorry, everybody.
I shipped out some jigs this morning, and I used a recycled wrapper that came from Lyle for his jigs.
Hey,
I just
do that.
ripped the label off of it and sent it on.
I do that too all the time. Why waste? Waste not, want not, right?
Well, this things cost $1 a piece.
Mm-hmm. And then some. So it's good to do that. I mean, and I'm not. We're not going to get into all of that. I just don't like throwing stuff away that doesn't need to be thrown away. Common sense, just like selective harvest, same deal. But that's another story. We can get into that one of these nights on the podcast. And that ought to be a fun one. Maybe one of my final shows or something. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. You know how passionate people are, David, about their sport. So,
yeah,
I happen to be the same way. I just don't see eye to eye with some people. But, anyways, I'm talking too much here. So, all right. Tell us about this heated dock that you're planning on fishing. I'm interested in that.
I know nothing about it. That's the thing. I see it. I've seen it on the map, and I brought it up on Google. That's all I've got. I just know that I've seen one of the YouTubers that I follow. I've seen that I'm actually going to be meeting up there. I watched his video and I'd seen the inside of it and stuff. Basically, just a tent building, plywood or a treated wood deck and a hole in the middle. So, and I noticed that it had the ramp and everything. So I'm like, the whole thing is it's a 2-hour drive. I hate driving that far.
Yeah, it beats freezing though. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I know, and everything around here is just fixing to freeze up. So,
well, if you can get you bringing your son with you down there.
Yeah, I'm taking Gregory.
So what's the limit?
I have no idea.
Well, bring home a couple limits. You put some meat in the freezer. Do you guys
I think the limit's 25 at Marion County is
50,
what I think it is.
50 crappies, a lot of crappie.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of filleting to do.
Yep. Yeah, I need to get me one of them fancy battery operated ones.
Yeah, I was just hearing Lyle talk about that.
Yeah.
I actually asked for one for Christmas. I asked for that Rapala lithium rechargeable one. We'll see if Santa thinks I'm good enough to get one of them for Christmas. So,
well, and then Lyle tell him and Zeddy.
Yeah, that's a nice Renzetti Vice you got there, bud.
Well, they got another model that I like better, but well, I think I would like it better,
Yeah.
but I have more important things right now.
Yeah, it's hard. That one seems to work good. You sent me a couple of your jigs. They're pretty nice. They
Yeah.
actually look really good. I'm not even gonna lie.
I got this vice like 12 years ago, and I'm not going to say how much I paid because my wife's over there.
I understand.
So yeah,
I got my
we don't
eye on
talk
an
about such things.
I got my eye on an Odyssey Vice, and I got my eye on a number 5. Is that right? Fly rod to match that reel that you sent me.
Yeah,
I know you sent me a number 6, but I've been told a 5 will work with that, won't it?
yeah. Well, 5.6 pretty much is about the same.
About the same. I need to
Yeah,
pick up one of them. I just haven't got a chance. There's so much
and
other stuff that I got in the.
there again, the reel isn't really. 90% of people don't use the drag and everything that's designed on a fly reel. 90% of the people slack line. They have all that line piled up beside them, and they use it, let it slide through their fingers and all that. That's the way I am. The only time I ever get into my full line out real singing is when I hang into a carp or something like that, and then you get something that can actually run. But I have a 5 weight, and now I have a 4 weight now, but my 5 weight is what I've used for the last 12 years, and I love it. And I've caught 5-pound bass on it. I've caught 10-pound channel cat on it. You just got to play them, take your time. You break a $400 or $500 rod, you're going to have a fit.
I'm not going to buy a $400 or $500 fly rod just yet. That's one of the reasons why I've been avoiding it, Dave. And you kind of got me sucked in already doing this. Between you and Kim Burnett and Lyle, which Kim's going to be on my show next week, everybody. That ought to be a good show. So the day after Christmas,
right on.
We'll have Kim on there. But I know that if I go down that fly fishing rabbit hole, that I'm going to be in bad shape. I got a couple spots where there's some big pike over here, Dave. And I want to get some. What are they, streamers they use for pike? I want to get a big old pike on a streamer. I think that would be fun.
What do I do with that?
Dale Hayslip is saying, won't be long. January 1, up to 3-pole limit. Life changer here in Ohio. Interesting.
Well, I had a box that had a bunch of big flies in it, and I don't know what I did with
it. I'm not asking you to send them to me.
No.
I got to tie them. I got to learn.
No, I was going to show you.
Oh, okay.
But I actually think my phone's sitting on that bag.
I really try not to talk like that, because next thing I know, someone's sending me something, and that's not why I mentioned it. That's
no. I bet I make these. I make these streamers, and they're literally 8 inches long, and they basically just consist of a couple good long hackle feathers and some flash, and then when you get up to where the hook's at, you put a bunch of deer hair, and then you start spinning the deer hair on there, and then just trim it all up. But you leave some of that deer hair back over all that other stuff, and you get a really light streamer, and they work good for bass and pike and hybrids and things like that. And I tied up a few years back. A guy wanted to play around with them, a friend of mine, and we tied them up. We went out to Kingman Lake, and we was catching bass on them and stuff. We had a great time. Only time I ever used them, we only used 3 of them, and I tied like 10.
Ain't that the truth? I got,
and I've never used them since.
I have like 8 boxes of flies now that I've tied. I got a couple of boxes of stuff that I got from other people that either sent them to me or I bought. I got a couple of boxes from Lyle over at Panfish Flies and Jigs. I got to place another order for Kim Burnett. I really am looking forward to. How you doing? I'm really looking forward to. What is that?
Chocolate covered pretzels.
Oh, there you go.
The white chocolate.
Did you bring enough for everybody, Dave?
No.
Oh, okay. Sorry, folks in chat.
At least it ain't as bad as sitting there eating M&Ms through the whole show.
Yeah, we know who does that. Curtis. Tim Molina had something really nice to say. I want to make sure that I read that out loud. Tim Molina says, Dave amazes me. He does everything I had told myself I couldn't do. Now I've had to rethink my limitations. Now, let me tell the people in podcast land what's going on there. I had named this show Unstoppable Angler. And I talked a little bit with Dave prior to the show to make sure he was okay with this. But Dave, you are handicapped, correct?
Yes.
You want to explain to the people a little bit that are listening to the audio what's going on, how you're handicapped and stuff like that?
I broke my back basically. So I'm considered a L3-4 incomplete, which means I have some movement, but not enough to walk or, I mean, I can kind of stand, but that's like leaning on things, and it just really hurts my back and hurts my hips and all that. And, but I mean, that's pretty much, I was out at the farm and I was chasing some birds down, some chickens.
Oh, David froze here real quick. Let's see if he breaks back loose. Oh, I wonder if maybe he lost power. Well, Dave will be back here in a second. If you guys are listening to this on a podcast, I'm going to take this moment to thank the people that or the companies that have been big supporters of the Catfish and Crappie podcast. We're going to give a big shout out to Fishbrain. Fishbrain had me do a couple of projects for him, which I had a blast. Thank you, Fishbrain. Also, Amped Outdoors is a big channel supporter. I appreciate them. I'm getting ready to get another lithium battery that I'm going to purchase from them this time. Thank you, Matthew. I'm going to need that for some ice fishing use. Also, we got Uncle Lou's Tackle. Uncle Lou's been helping everybody out in the catfish community quite a bit. He's got good gear. I actually just won one from Brian B. So I'm looking forward to getting my first blue Uncle Lou rod. I got an Ancient Mariner reel that I wanted to test out, ready to go on that one. So I'm looking forward to that. We got Colton over at Multi Bars. He took good care of me. He takes good care of the channel. I can't say anything better or anything bad about those rod racks that he sent me, the catfish and specific ones. I've used them for trolling for walleyes too. They work great. It's nice to have those solid racks in the back of your boat. I highly recommend them. Also, I need to thank again and again JT and Jimmy Forbes over at Port Barrington Marina. Those guys are really good to me. Without them, definitely my fishing and my fishing
okay, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, David.
My internet kicked off.
That's okay. I've done this a few times, David. I was able to fill the time with some big thank yous to the companies that support us. I also want to say a big thank you again, even after this morning's live stream, to the channel members. Thank you for your support. I wish I could have gave every single one of you something, but I'm glad I was able to have a giveaway for the crew members and for the subscribers as well. So thank you.
Yeah, see, I was late to that show.
No, I wasn't for once. I made it there 8 o'clock in the morning coffee show. So we were talking, you hurt yourself chasing some chickens around the
we were losing chickens to coyotes. So I was chasing the chickens down and I stepped in a rabbit hole, where they had a little den with babies. And I tripped and fell forward. And when I did that, and my back popped, and that was it. The weirdest kind of, crazy thing that just happened. I mean, bad thing was I laid there for 3 hours while my truck ran because I didn't notice the chickens were out until after I started the truck. So, but it's just
not the worst
something that happened.
Having to lay there for 3 hours is not a good thing, I imagine.
Well, it was hot. I got sunburned. I was being bit by ants. It was pretty miserable. I was pretty mad by the time everybody got home and stuff. And then to even make it worse was by the time I got to the doctor and stuff, they were just like, well, you just hurt your back. You herniated a disc. You'll be fine. Put me back in the vehicle and took me back to the house, wheeled me in the house. I went to bed. I woke up 2 days later. I just kind of slept and slept and slept. I was in so much pain. I woke up 2 days later with 106 fever.
Oh,
and I got an infection from it. So that just kind of finished off the rest of it. So
106. That's insane.
yeah, they thought I was going to die.
I think I crossed 104 one time. And that was because I had an infection as well. And that was no fun ride. I can't imagine what 106 is like. That's dude.
Well, they had me where they had ice between my legs, and they was doing all kinds of things to try to. I mean, they had me going with all kinds of fluids, the chill in the IV bag.
Mhm.
I mean, they was doing all kinds of stuff, but it didn't take. But after they started giving me that medicine in the IV, a couple of days it did. But except for having to roll around. But I have underlying bone problems. So that's why things broke as easy as they did, and just stuff like that. So
All right, so we got the how. Now, how do you deal with it? How long did it take you to get back on your, well, not back on your feet? Oh, poor choice of words. Sorry about that, Dave. Jeez
it's
Louise.
all right.
I can't believe I said that. How long
It's
did it take you to
perfectly
get
fine.
back in? How long did it take you to get back in business afterwards, or the rehab, the whole mental game, all of that stuff? And if I'm getting too personal, let me know. I'll be happy to stop.
That's fine. No, rehab was pretty much they said that do this, do these exercises, try to touch your toes, try to do this, and that was about it. I mean, there really wasn't much rehab. They said, here's a wheelchair. This is how you use it. And then I begged and begged and begged it. Just at that time, insurance wouldn't cover stuff like that. So, no occupational or anything like that. And so what I did was I finally got hold of this place over in Wichita does physical therapy, and they were able to just say they were going to do outpatient physical therapy when they're an inpatient facility.
Mm-hmm.
So I just drove over there 3 days a week for a month, and they taught me the basic tricks. The funnest thing was they took me to the mall, and they said, "You're going up that escalator." And I said, "Oh, what? How am I going to do that? Get out of the chair?" He's like, "No, you're going to ride it up in your wheelchair." So I went up there, and he says, "This is what you're going to do. Grab the two things and put your front wheels on the first step, your back wheels on the second step, and hold on." He says, "You're safer because you're holding both sides. Most people just hold one and aren't paying attention, lean in." And once I did that a couple times, I will never take an elevator again if there's an escalator. Elevators, you get trapped in them things. And then that hold all up. When you don't have your knees to absorb that, it's like going over a bump real quick. Your stomach goes up into your chest.
Speaking of elevators, I was on one when I was in Vegas. You would not like, Dave. At the Luxor in Vegas, it's that pyramid building in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Well, those elevators aren't on a piston. They're actually on wheels and tracks, and they go sideways going up. Yeah. It's the weirdest thing in the world. But anyways, and just so you guys know, in podcast land, I am getting roasted by a couple of people for my get back on your feet, Dave comment. So just so you know, they're making me pay for it. Thanks, guys.
I'm perfectly fine with it. I've heard a lot worse.
There's my grandfather, and I talked about this, who taught me, for the most part, got me started fishing. He was handicapped as well. He had one leg, and I think the one of the many memories I have of him is he had a Volkswagen station wagon. Not a Beetle, not a bus, but a station wagon, kind of a bubble wagon type deal. And it was manual, and he was missing his right leg, Dave.
Yeah.
So I remember him taking us down to the river. No. He would take his leg off and throw it in the back seat, and he would one-foot it all the way down to the river.
Oh, yeah.
Good thing I was a little kid at that time, because I had no idea that what he was doing was plumb near pretty crazy, but he managed all right.
Yeah, I drive with hand controls, and when people get in there and they see that, they're like, "What is that?" And then I have to explain, this is how you use it and all that. And they're like, "Well, is that safe?" I was like, "Well, I can chew a power brake probably better now with that than I ever could with my feet."
Hold on, we got somebody here. Split shot. Bates says my daughter keeps pushing me into the wall in an elevator at the VA. She just
My
does
son,
that. It's fun.
my
Split shot.
my son Gregory, he'll take him if I say something that he don't like. He'll grab my wheelchair and try to run off with it. If I'm sitting in my big chair.
Uh-huh. So how do you manage you? And in the thumbnail, if you guys saw it, there's a kayak in the thumbnail. Tell us a little bit about you and kayaks.
Well, fishing on the bank is really hard because you're limited. You can't, like, think of it this way: is if you go to the bank, most people, when they park their vehicle next to the bank, or when you park your vehicle, you walk down that bank and fish different little spots. Well, if you're in a wheelchair, you're stuck. You're not going anywhere. You're going to fish pretty much where you drove up to, or as far as you can manage to get. I mean, now, somebody like me that I've been in it for 10 years now, so I know how to manage, things. I can go, 50, 60 yards down as long as it's grass and smooth and, not a bunch of gopher holes and things. But for the most part, with that kayak, I can go anywhere on that water I want to go, no restrictions. I'm used to setting down, so I can set down for 4 to 8 hours on a kayak. Now the kayak seat that I got an Ascend kayak, so I got a cheap one. It's like a $400, $500 kayak, and so I lean back a little bit too much. So after about probably 3 or 4 hours, I do start to get hurt and then want to get off. But if I had a better seat, I could be there all day. And I've thought about taking one of my old wheelchairs that flew out of the back of the pickup truck going down the highway at 70. Got a little dented up when it made its landing in the middle of the other lane. And I thought about cutting the axle and the front knee area on that and mounting that to my kayak. So I basically have the seat in the back. So then I'd be comfortable, be there all day.
Yeah.
And being in the wheelchair, I got big arms, so if somebody wants to race me to the spot in a kayak, good luck.
Yeah, good luck. I was going to say I ain't arm
They
wrestling.
They better have one of them pedal feed kayaks.
My grandfather was the same way. He was like had all the upper body strength that anybody I've ever met, and I know that for a fact.
A few years ago, I bench pressed 305. So
nice, good for you.
But that's been about 5 years now.
So what do? You just kind of hoist yourself up into the kayak and leave your wheelchair on the bank, and somebody puts it away for you?
Yep. Either that or, I mean, like Gregory, 99% of the time, Gregory's with me. You may not see him.
Gregory's your son, correct? For those
Yes, he's my son, and he lives with us. He's 25 years old, and he has autism. He's verbal to the family, but only to people that he's really, really close to. He will not talk in front of even aunts and uncles. He will not talk in front of. So it's just he just gets locked up. So, but now with me and him going together, there's always somebody there. So if I do fall or whatever, at least he can help me get back into the chair or whatever. But I can get in and out of my chair fairly easy. And usually when I go up to the kayak, I just get as close as I can, reach down with my arm and kind of just throw myself down into it basically. And just, hope I don't miss. And pole holders don't feel good.
Yeah, I'm full mobility, and I kind of have to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just old though. That's my.
There's been a couple times where I've missed my hand placement on the other side of the kayak and like overshot and hit the ground and like almost break my wrist and or like you miss and then you fall and so like you get a pole holder upside your head. You just
you ever fall out of your kayak? I'm sure that's a question everybody wants.
I have never ever flipped my kayak over. The reason of it is being in the wheelchair, I've got core balance because I don't have I have some in my hip flexors and stuff, but I don't have enough in my legs to hold me steady, even in my chair. So you use more of your core. And once you use your core so much like that, I compensate so easy. I've had a couple close calls, but like I said, I have an Ascend too, and you can get them things pretty. I mean, you
So
can
you're able
stand
to
up
swing
on the
that.
edge of it and it won't tip over.
Yeah, you're able to swing. You're able to manhandle that kayak with your core muscles. So yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
get it. That makes sense.
But there
Kind
are
of like
people. There are a few guys that I know that they're a little bit weaker in the core, and they need little kicker pontoons or something like that, which no big deal. Just add them if you need them.
yeah, if that's what you need to do to get on that water, you should definitely do
Yeah.
that. But when I first started kayak fishing, I don't do it so much anymore since I got rid of my kayak. But I was surprised at how stable they really are.
Well,
It was
especially
really
the new
surprising.
set-on type ones.
To sit
They've
on top.
designed them to where the stability is there.
And they're fun to fish out of. They really are. Where else can you sneak up on fish so stealthily and or hook into a whether it's a big or a small fish and have them
Yeah.
drag you around the lake? That's always a good time.
Well, and like you said, in clear enough water, you can see the fish. And if you just come in slow, they just think it's something drifting by. They don't get spooked. I've jigged with 5-foot rods to where you can see the crappie coming up, and just kind of I move it over in front of them, wiggling in there, and then they hit it. They may be 6 inches away on the other side of the branch, just sitting there staring at it. But if you can bring it up over and see them, I keep threatening my wife I would really like to get side sonar imaging and stuff. I think it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of that, is it cheating? Is it not cheating?
It's not. You mean live sonar? Like
Yeah, where you can see the fish, and see your jig go up and down, and or even the side sonar to where you can see what's in the brush and stuff.
I don't think it's cheating. I had this talk. Our last week's show was with the Justin and Josh over at Russell Marine, and I don't think it's cheating. I mean, I remember back in the day, another one of my fishing mentors, Edward Zink. God rest his soul. He's passed away. Old German guy, man. He used to rock the accordion. He used to play an accordion, Dave, through a half stack. Whenever there was a party on the weekends, he would blow everybody's windows out with that thing. But behind that, I remember when he got the first sonar that had the actual thermal paper in it. He was so excited because he was a big lakes fisherman. Excuse me. And everybody called him a cheater for that. And I'm like, really? Now you look at that and
everybody's got it. Yeah.
Everybody's got the standard one for $100. You can get this something that does the same and no rolls of paper needed.
Yeah. Well, and everybody is like talking about getting boats now. I mean, like of course, we've had a few in the fishing community. We've had a few accidents lately where people are getting some new rigs and stuff. But you're looking at new boat. Possibly. A few other people are. Well, I get on there, and I really like the low boats. The LOWE, I think is how you say it.
The brand low. Okay.
Yeah. I like those. But that's because they got a huge flat front deck, like from the console all the way forward.
Oh, yeah.
So
like
perfect for a wheelchair.
Uh-huh.
But the cheapest one's like $25,000. So
yeah,
and I thought that was expensive for a boat. And then I looked at the one that you was talking about, and I went, "Wow!"
Don't tell anybody. Yeah, don't tell anybody.
So,
but yeah.
I think if everything goes well with if Naomi can get back to work within the next year or so, since she had an accident too, her car wreck, and
I'm sorry.
What have you? We're kind of both in the same boat. At least she's walking around and doing her thing. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful just to have her. But we get back onto that. I'm wanting to get a boat. So that's the key. And my friend has a pontoon boat that we're trying to fix and stuff. So eventually we'll get out there on a boat.
Yeah. For those of you looking to get into a boat and you don't think you can get into a boat, you can. The best way to do it's keep trading up. whatever it is. I mean, I got into this boat trading like a
Yeah.
couple of ATVs for it. Now this one, I'm going to sell this, and we got a camper that we've had forever. We'll trade, and so on. Just keep trading up. Where there's a will, there's a way. Melissa does have a question. I'm falling behind here in chat. Melissa wants to know: do you use a quickie wheelchair or ever tried one, Dave?
Yeah, I used the quickie wheelchair. That's what they gave me in the first. And within 6 months, I begged for something else. I am a tie light guy. I I like the tie lights. My wheelchair weighs 26 pounds fully assembled.
That's it, huh?
That's it. And so, and plus my wheels pop off, my back folds down. It's easy. I can go. I got a 2018 Chevy Colorado. It's got a 3-inch lift on it. So I'm not into minivan. So therefore, when I take my chair apart, I got to be able to reach down and grab each piece at a time and be able to pull it in. So you can't do that with a quickie as easy as you can tie light. And I've got 2 quickies out there hanging in the shop that are just completely destroyed because of me jumping off of curbs or going, I'll jump down 2 steps. If I got to go 100 yards all the way around and follow the handicap path, or just jump down 2 steps to get 20 feet, I'm jumping down them 2 steps. I just, you just balance on your back wheels, do a wheelie, and dunk, dunk, you're down it.
There you go. And
worst thing that happens is you get skinned hands like you did when you fell off your bike.
There you go. Dustin over at Team Stag and Whiskers says, we don't say disability in our house. We say different abilities. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's see what kind of other questions.
Well, you know what we call people that walk around, all of us guys in the wheelchairs? We call them able bodies.
Call them what?
Able bodies.
Able bodies. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, ABs, able body. So if you ever hear a guy in a wheelchair go, yeah, look at that AB, it's meant to be derogatory.
Danny Stone Outdoors says, Dave has inspired me many times to get to fishing spots I thought I could not get to because I thought it was too hard. You're a hell of a guy, Dave Lemen.
Thank you. That was Danny
Stone. That was Danny Stone. So, all right, I think.
Yeah, Danny. No, I watched the whole time he was down there in Florida, even though he didn't really catch much.
Yeah, he didn't, and then he got kind of caught on that nude beach, and
that water funnel almost got him.
Yeah, that wasn't a good time. But Florida, you had to mention Florida. I've been dreaming about driving down there. But I guess they're getting that cold temps down there too. So small water charters, if you're watching this after the fact, you're finally getting some of my weather. He's always bragging to me that he's got 80-degree weather and stuff. Well,
yeah, I know that. Well, it's just like Fresno, he keeps saying stuff too. So all them guys that live in the warmer climate, I ain't even ever seen any salt water. Except for when I'm making in the kitchen with some, table salt. I've never seen salt water. I went to the Gulf is like 14 hours away. The West Coast is 2 days away. The East Coast is a day and a half, if not 2 days away. So I'm just kind of, I probably won't never go. And I ain't getting on an airplane because I see how they treat wheelchairs.
I have I fished saltwater once in my life. I'd like to do it a little more. Not gonna lie, it was on my honeymoon. We actually went fishing for barracuda, and that was fun and stuff. I got deathly seasick though. I'll stick to the flats and stuff on saltwater, maybe some trout or some bull drum or fish like that to start. Maybe even do some pier fishing or some shark fishing with Danny. That would be fun. And go down and fish. Well, Creo still fishes the.
See, I want to do some pier fishing. And I do want to go. I mean, it's not like I don't want to go. I do want to go do some saltwater fishing. I would like to catch something big enough to make me go for a ride.
You have to get on go after a shark. Did you? And Justin Johnson over at Kayak Catfish hooked into a couple of monster sharks in the last week, and they took him for a ride on that kayak of his. One of them, he was out like way out there, miles and miles away. So he was He was a little worried. He was even saying so. Said he had a
Yeah,
paddle
I
for a
haven't.
long time.
He hasn't popped for some reason. Kayak catfishing hasn't popped up in my feed for a while. Just to
Oh,
come think about it.
he's been on for a while. Yeah, folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. If you're listening to this on the audio podcast and you're not following the podcast, please follow the podcast. And if you like what you're hearing, I'd love a good review. I really would. It's awesome to see them come through, and I'd really appreciate it. So thank you for doing all that. And if you're if you're on YouTube here, please hit the thumbs up. Make sure your bell notifications rung, because I'm going to start going live a little bit more and releasing some more videos over the winter that you're not going to want to miss. So, and ice fishing is going to be one of them things that I do last minute. So we'll see. So, tell me a little bit about your jig time. Do you sell jigs, Dave?
I have been selling jigs. It's been to mostly friends or just people that hit me up, and heck, most of the time I end up, if it's somebody I like, I end up just giving them to them. You know, I got to quit doing that because I'll probably give away as many as I get. You know, but I'm getting tomorrow. I'm making the payment to the guy to build my website, and so it'll be doublehookangling.com. I've
Cool.
already bought the domain name, so it's doublehookangling.com. But I gotta get somebody to help me figure it out because I can't.
You'll get it figured out. And go ahead and link in the description of Dave's YouTube channel. Go over there. I'm sure he'll keep everybody updated to the status of that website and once it's started. And if you want to go ahead and support a great angler by buying some of his jigs, you can always do that there. And you're gonna get some pretty decent product as well. Definitely. There you go. He's showing off a nice white and black little bumblebee looking jig. That's pretty nice. I like the size of those. That's pretty good. I need to get me a magnifying glass. I'm not even going to lie. One of them ones, Lyle was saying that he wants one of them ones that's the big circle with a light in it. I want ones like my buddy Corey over at Immaculate Tackle has. It's almost like a welding helmet lens that's a magnifying glass, just so I can tie some of those smaller flies and jigs. So
I got new glasses here just this last couple of weeks. I broke my glasses. I was out of the game for 3 weeks. I couldn't tie. I couldn't read. I couldn't see the screen. Couldn't do nothing. Spend $700 on glasses, and guess what? I still got to look through the bottom of them. I still got to lean back.
Yeah. Oh man. We could talk. We'll talk about glasses when we get done with this. So
it's all of this. It's all of this. As soon as it went gray, I just couldn't see nothing.
Mine just went gray in the last like 3 years, Jiminy Christmas.
Thanks, Miss Becca.
Becca's sharing out David's link, and it is in the description too. So let's see what else we got in here.
So have you been tying?
I tied the last time I was on James Dockery Fishing's channel. I did have Danny Stone send me some bucktails, which I can't wait to get on there. I need to go out in the garage. Well, I got to get my ice fishing gear. That's priority number one. We're going to get that stuff all set up, ready to go, so I can fish here in the next few days. So we will be tying some jigs either live on Panfish Nation, or if I'm invited on James Dockery's channel, James Dockery Fishing. I'm not going to hold my breath on that one, but you never know.
I was surprised he had me come up that day. He had everybody else.
James
he's a great guy. I was shocked. I still see myself as nobody and just me.
We're all a bunch of nobodies, plain and simple. We're just people who like to fish. So, and now you're the unstoppable angler, Dave.
Yeah, when I seen that, I showed Naomi. You can see it made me blush. I feel.
Did it make you blush? Good. I hope you took that the right way. So, look at this. So close to Christmas, and Chad's spewing profanity in the chat, Dave. He's posting up turkey bacon emojis. Me and Dave are both nodding our heads. So you got any big fishing plans for the coming up holiday weekend?
fishing that ice house, and that's probably going to be about it
That's
for a
right.
while. This time of year, like I said, we get ice, and it gets hard to fish. So I built the dock out at the pond. So I kind of that my thinking it was I can't have safe ice. I'll have a dock where I can go out and punch a hole in, and make safe ice. So you know, and I planted a hedge tree. I don't know if you know what a hedge tree is.
Uh,
A lot of people call it Osage orange, I think is its technical name, but we planted one of them upside down with all the fingers in the mud right at the end of my dock. So that ought to be
Terrific.
some good structure. And it's been in there for over a week now, so I'm sure they're used to it and everything, probably piled up on it. I
Hopefully they'll
hope.
get on there. You know what? I really have no idea how long it would take fish to gravitate to a piece of structure you drop like that.
Yeah.
Danny Stone's bragging here. He says, catfish and crappie. I hate to tell you, Mark, but the jig mold I gave to Lyle, I won from Dave.
Yep. You want it on my show.
Well, you know
And
what?
then,
Lyle burns through
then he
jigs like
gifted it to
crazy.
Lyle.
Lyle burns through jigs like crazy. If anybody will be able to put that to good use, it's going to be him. So
I even sent him some. I think I sent him size 4, 6, and 8 hooks.
the 6 and 8s he loves. He loves those smaller hooks. He's big on tying the bluegill jigs and flies, so he'll definitely put those to use. So I don't have the lead or the pot or any of that stuff, Danny. So I'll just have I'll keep buying my jigs for now until I get enough time to go buy that. I don't tie enough to need 1,000 or 5,000 at a time, Lyle. So
see, when I go buy hooks, I buy about 5,000 at a time. But
that's just hooks. Lyle's buying jig heads 5,000 at a time, or at least he did in the
past. Well, hey, Lyle, I know a guy that will sell you as many painted jig heads as you want.
There you go.
I will sell just the painted heads. You want to tie your own. But that was my website. I'll get that up, and then if anybody does want jigs and stuff, they can just hit me up at Double Hook Angling Gmail for now.
What is your email address?
It's doublehookangling@gmail.
Double Hook Angling, all spelled out at Gmail, and he'll shoot you some prices for some jig heads. Just tell him what size and weight you're interested in. So, you got anything else, Dave?
I guess not. I mean, everybody getting into. I mean, if you tying isn't hard to get into, it's actually fairly cheap to start, but I'll warn you, once you do, it gets expensive. I mean, you can see all these boxes behind me, and that's not even. I've probably got these little totes. I've probably got about 20 of these, just packed full of different stuff. Marabou in one, bucks in the other, bellies in the other, squirrel in one, hackle in another.
Missy Kennedy says she needs some jig head size 8 hooks, so you might be getting an email from her, and Becca shared your email.
Send me an email.
Cool.
I have about 25 colors. So, but I greatly appreciate you having me up, Lyle. Like I said, I'm just trying to,
Mark,
get my word out and have people watch me, and I like to watch other people, and the more information we can share with each other, maybe the better we will become at fishing, and we won't sit there all day skunked. And
I know some people that know a heck of a lot about fishing, and they get skunked an awful lot too.
Oh yeah.
So it's all about hanging out and being involved in the sport that we all like. And here, wait, Tim Molina's comments getting ready to come up here. There he goes. Tim is poking fun at me.
See, and when you fish with small jigs and things like that, you get a higher chance of catching some, so less chance of being skunked. And like I said, I'll go fishing for minnows. I literally will. I will get a size 20 to 24 hook, and if you see a school of shiners messing around by the dock or something, get you a little piece of bread or get you a little piece of power bait or something like that. Put on one of those little hooks. So you can sit there and catch bait while you're fishing for your big fish.
There you go. We got, thank you very much, Melissa. That caught my eye. Says, another awesome show. Thanks, Mark and Dave. Merry Christmas to all. So, Dave, let me wish you a Merry Christmas. Let me wish everybody out here in chat a Merry Christmas. If you're listening to the podcast, I know it's well after Christmas. I hope you had a great Christmas. Hope you got everything you needed. I hope you get out and fish and y'all get your monsters. So, David, thank you very much for spending the time with me. I'm really grateful that you came on. It was a good deal. If anybody has any questions for you, Miss Becca, put your email address up there if you're interested in getting some jigs. So contact Dave at doublehooKangling@gmail.com. There's a link to your website in the description, both on the YouTube channel and on the podcast. So check him out, give him a sub, give him some support. It'd be awesome for you to do that. Dave, thank you very much. God bless you.
Yep.
Good night, everybody. Have a great one. Merry Christmas.